Hello and welcome again to the Degenerate YouTube page. Myself and Steak are back again with our best bets in college football week 2. Steak, fresh off a trip from Philadelphia. I believe you just landed a few hours ago. You were boots on ground Thursday Night Football. How you feeling?
Feel good. It was a good time. It was real fun until that weather delay, and the weather delay took the wind out of our sails a little bit. It was crazy in there once that weather delay hit.
So when a weather delay happens in an NFL stadium, fun fact, I've actually had it happen to me at a Notre Dame USF game in Notre Dame. We had to go hunker down in Notre Dame's basketball gym. And then we went back and USF fucking beat them as 18-point underdogs. What do you do at an NFL stadium? Did you just hang out and drink?
So they keep telling you to leave your seats. I'd say about 80% of people left their seats. I did go get drinks. Yes, that was like the only thing to do. But to be completely honest with you, I put a poncho on and I just sat in my seats. I didn't really see any lightning. Like I
Okay.
understand it's like within a certain amount of miles,
6 miles.
but it was barely raining and I didn't see any lightning. And honestly, I just grabbed a Vizzy Seltzer and sat in my seat. Time went by very quick.
Okay, fair enough. And you, we are getting in the full swing of things with the NFL, by the way. If you're new to following the Degenerate, we do our best bets in college football and in the NFL every week. We send them out Friday morning. First newsletter went out. You can subscribe on the website, thedegenerateweekly.com for free. And then also you can track all of our wagers if you give a shit. We are on Pickett. Download Pickett, go to your app store, use promo code DGen. When you do, you'll get a few bucks back. I am _degenerate. Steak is at Steak Friend with 2 A's. Steak, great job last weekend, by the way. You had a valiant bounce back on our Pickett calendar. I believe you were not having a great August, and then you stormed back on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or was it Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've turned my Pickett calendar from red to green for August, and that's honestly all I care about.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to have that green calendar. And since we started with Pickett, I've only had red. So that felt pretty good. I had a good month, but I didn't have a great weekend. I go very light in week 0 and week 1. But I went 2 and 3, 2 and 3. So a little in the red here and there. Got a fuck with a backdoor on Kentucky. We'll talk about them because we paid attention. Got very lucky with UTSA earmuffs because I know you run A&M. I kind of want to talk about them as well. But some good takeaways. So week 1, we recapped it. You can follow our streams on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Every weekday, 10 a.m., we do the board review. And on Mondays, we recap all the action from the weekend. Tuesdays, we talk about the following week's board. So we've already done some research live on the stream with our chat. And while you're watching, make sure you hit the like button, please, and smash the subscribe button. Don't click it, smash it. But again, this is not our first look. We've talked about the board. We've thought about the board. And now you and I have discussed our plays and we have our best bets. So this is a more polished version and getting after it in this YouTube video. Okay, Steaks. So there are some games tonight, Friday. It's pointless talking about it by the time we get this video up. A few of them will probably already kick off. But let's go to noon on Saturday. I wouldn't say it's the best slate, but there are some really intriguing games that I'm looking forward to talking about and that I believe you are going to get involved with. So we've got 3 at noon that I've got my eyes on and potentially some units on. So let's talk about it. First one that I'm showing here is SMU and Baylor. If you look at the line in this game, let me see if I can find it. I got the wrong slate up. I got Friday up. If you look at this game on the opener, I'm seeing that SMU opened 3.5. Some money came in on Baylor to move it to 2.5 or 2. Also, what's worth noting is the total. Total opened, I think 60 and is up to 63. But again, don't quote me because I don't know what sites I'm using and how legitimate they are and accurate with their numbers. But either way, the number right now is about 63.5. We saw Auburn beat the shit out of Baylor, 38-24. But in that game, I think there were still some good things to take away from Baylor. Sawyer Robertson had a good game. He had 400+ yards passing, but Jackson Arnold, the quarterback for Auburn, did whatever the fuck he wanted. Now they're going to play an SMU team that also has a mobile quarterback. They're coming off their week 1 game against a nobody, winning 42-13. They were 51-point favorites. Are you buying low potentially here on Baylor, or are you looking at the total?
Potentially. So it's obviously, I got to remind everyone I'm a Baylor investor because I have over 7.5 wins and I also have them to win the Big 12. Obviously, this game against Auburn and this game against SMU has nothing to do with my Big 12 bet, but obviously I'd like them to win this game. I've collected my thoughts about Baylor after that performance because I really couldn't figure out how Jackson Arnold could do that to you on the ground. It's not that I didn't think there was a possibility that Jackson Arnold was good. He's a 5-star quarterback. He looked horrible at Oklahoma, but honestly, you know how I feel about the coaching situation at Oklahoma. And Michael Hawkins didn't look any better when he got in there. So it wasn't that I thought it was crazy that a guy who has Cam Coleman and then had Eric Singleton transfer in would be good. I thought it was crazy how good he was on the ground. Then I started to think Baylor had been hearing all offseason about how I think most people consider Cam Coleman to be the third best receiver in the league, but in the country behind Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. And then Eric Singleton was a hell of a get in the transfer portal. And so they said, we're not going to let Jackson Arnold beat us with his arm. And I don't think Baylor thought it was possible that Jackson Arnold could beat him that bad with his feet. And so I kind of want to chalk up that game to bad defensive game planning a little bit. Now I want to go to who they play this week, Kevin Jennings. He's actually not a running quarterback. He can move, don't get me wrong, but he's a passer.
Okay.
And so I just gotta believe that Baylor's going to come in with a little better defensive game plan, especially when there's a lot more tape on this guy. Yes, there's tape on Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma. I don't really count that as the same. There's tons of tape on Kevin Jennings at SMU running the same exact offense as he was last year. And personally, I am buying a bounce back from Baylor, and I think it comes in the form of lots of points. Like, I think
really?
I think this game gets to 70.
Okay, so we are collabing. This is an official collaboration. I too would like Baylor, but I don't like points. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I actually like the defense, and so you're right. So I'm looking here. Kevin Jennings he only had a 15-yard run in week 1. He did rush for a touchdown, but he was 22 of 30. Very efficient. He did throw an interception. One thing I want to talk about before we get into this game, you bring up a really, really good point in terms of what Baylor was potentially focusing on going into that Auburn game with the passing threat. Also, on the flip side, I think it could be stated that Jackson Arnold, probably all he's heard all offseason is no one gives a shit about him. Nobody's really taking him seriously. So Auburn really played, and Auburn in general, nobody's taking Auburn that seriously, at least from what I've been seeing. So kudos to them. They've been getting a lot of shit, having a couple of play callers and rotating guys or whatnot. Something weird's going on there. But they came in with a chip on their shoulder. They played fucking fired up. So good for them. And I like what you said as well. Just think it's a combination of both. I think kind of similar to what we did with UNLV last week. I don't know if UNLV made our video, but it made our live stream. We liked UNLV buying them at a bit of a bounce back when their defense let Idaho State carve them up. 300 yards passing, 31 points. We thought the defense would play much better, and they did on the road the following week at Sam Houston State. And they covered, I think it was a 9.5 or 10-point spread. They won 38-21. I kind of like that type of tightening up on the defensive side of the ball that UNLV did. I think that's going to come from Baylor. So I think Baylor is going to play much better defensively. I don't think they're as bad as we saw them in week 1, allowing 38 points at home to Auburn and Jackson Arnold now in Heisman contention. But I like Baylor to eke this one out. I think it's going to stay. I think it's going to stay maybe somewhere in the 50s, low 50s. And I'm still with you on liking Baylor as a team. They got a lot of experience. I think Robertson's a good quarterback. So I'm going to go. We're Baylor plus 2.5. Is that our play?
Yeah, I like Baylor more than the over 2, if that makes you feel better.
It does. It does. Yeah. Cause I thought about playing the under, but I respect that offense, and I'd be really pissed off if Baylor went up there and put up 40 points against SMU. So I'm going to go with Baylor plus 2.5. Okay. Next game on the noon slate, loaded noon slate. How about Iowa State and Iowa? We are Rocco Beck guys. The degenerate family are Rocco Beck guys. I don't know what Greg thinks. Fuck Greg. But anyways, Rocco Beck's off to a pretty good start. Iowa State survived one of their toughest games to start the year against Kansas State and Ireland. That was a gritty game. They played nasty and they won. They come back home. Everybody thought, oh, bad spot. Travel, no bye after traveling from Ireland. Come on, these kids are fucking in their 20s. They don't know what jet lag is. And then look ahead to Iowa. I ended up playing Iowa State. That was one of my 2 winners of the weekend. Minus 15.5, 14.5, whatever it was. They beat the absolute piss out of South Dakota State, whoever they played, 55-7 or something. Rocco Becht was unbelievable, 19 for 20. And then you've got Iowa, who did not look very good against Albany. I think they played. Everybody's dying for them to have a new quarterback. They got a guy from FCS, actually not from the team that just played Iowa State, but from South Dakota or South Dakota State, Mark Gronowski. He can run, he can throw, he looks like a prototypical quarterback. I'm not sold, and I'll tell you why after it comes back to me. But Steak, as of right now, Iowa State's -3.5. And it looks like the total in this one is, I actually looked a little bit higher than I expected it to be, 43 or 42.5. It's a little bit higher in this type of matchup, given Iowa's offense has been so shitty. But you've got Iowa State 3.5 or 3, depending on where you look. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, how cool is it to like a guy, have him perform well, but still not have him become trendy yet? Like, if I would have told you at the beginning of the season, Rocco Beck's going to win that game in Ireland, and then he's going to beat the brakes off South Dakota 55-7. He's going to have a perfect game, 5 touchdowns. I bet we'd both say, wow, he would probably have a lot of hype going into that Iowa game. People would probably really like Iowa State going into that Iowa game if Mark Gronowski had 70 yards passing against Albany and Rocco Beck's coming off a perfect masterclass of a game. But it's not the case, man. And I've said it. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I don't understand why people don't like Rocco Beck. And I think the problem is he's just going to gain more and more familiarity with these receivers and get better. And so the fact that I get to grab Iowa State in a spot where I think more people will be on Iowa anyways, and my football brain tells me to take Iowa State, like, I'm very happy with Iowa State. I'll probably buy it down to 3, I guess, or hope I get it at 3, but like, I'm taking Iowa State.
You know what? Somebody brought this up, and I don't know if they're watching this. Hopefully they are. I believe it was either Zach, who is an Iowa State alum, Zach T, shout out, or it was Special K. But they said every time Iowa and Iowa State play each other, the opposite of what you expect happens. And he's kind of right. And this is the only reason I'm getting a little bit nervous about this game, but I have a play. I'll tell you in a second. He's right, because last year we had the Iowa State over win total. This game in Iowa was -3. And Iowa State won 20-19. It was a nasty game. Cade McNamara had 99 passing yards, and Iowa State did not play very well. They played sloppy. I expect them, at least Iowa's defense, to bring a pretty good game. It's still Kirk Ferentz. It's a good coach.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to see that type of passing performance from our guy, Rocco. I certainly hope we do. I think if you play Iowa State, you play the money line. I still think they're the better team. Is Iowa as bad as they looked the week 1? Not necessarily. Probably didn't put a lot out there. I'm sure that happens all the time. It's strategy. But I'm going to tell you this. This is what I'm leading into. I wanted to buy Iowa in the offseason. I wanted to like this Mark Gronowski guy, and I watched the spring game. I don't think he's ready for Division I football. I don't think he's ready for Big Ten football. He's coming from a small school. He gives me Tanner Mordecai to Wisconsin vibes. I think I'm going to go with Iowa team total under. That's what I think. I think Iowa's scoring 17 tops. It's 19.5.
Can't support you taking Rocco Beck out of the equation, unfortunately, but I respect your decision. And also, I'm not a big fan of that. They don't want to show too much when you have a quarterback from FCS that needs the reps. I'm just not with that. I just think he didn't play well and Iowa didn't look good. I'm not going to make any excuses for why that happened, but yeah, I can't take Rocco Beck out of the equation right now. You know, we always talk about riding the hot guy. I got to ride Rocco Beck. So I'm taking Cyclone spread before I took Iowa team total under, but doesn't mean I think that's the wrong play.
Don't blame you at all. By the way, if you look at Pickett Pro on the splits here, if you look at this total, I do find this to be pretty interesting. 33% of the bets, but 38% of the money on the over. Little sharp action there. Pickett's tracking 9,000 wagers. And it looks like the majority of people do like Iowa State a little bit here, but we always say we think that the Pickett users are pretty sharp. Okay, so official play for you, Iowa State. I would, like I said, if I was your financial advisor, your sports betting advisor, I'd lay the fucking juice with the money line. I don't care if it's -150. It's going to be a weird game, but I'm going to go Iowa team total under 19.5. All right, next game at noon. Here's a team you're buying into and a team that I'm fading. So again, another somewhat collaboration on this Steak. This made the newsletter. It's one of my favorite bets, and it might be one of the squarest bets that I'm on in this college football season. I don't give a shit. Illinois on the road against Duke at noon. They're -3 or -2.5, depending on where you look. I laid it with the money line. I'm just a little bit nervous. I don't know why. I'm confident that they're going to win the game, but I got it at -140, I believe. I laid it 2 units. And the total in this one looks like it is 49.5 or 49. Steak, We buy into hype, we fade hype. We can be contrarian, but we have no problem. Like when Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley went to USC, we were all in on them. So is everybody else. Doesn't matter. Squares can eat too. You're buying Illinois. You got Illinois over 8.5 wins on the season. They got a lot of players coming back. Altmaier's coming or is back. Brett Bielema's still there. On the Duke side, Mensa, the quarterback from Tulane, one of the most expensive transfer portal players in college football. I believe $8 million for 2 years. I can't buy into it. I'm on Duke's under win total, and I think they lose this game. And even though I'm already invested, I'm fucking doubling down. I like Illinois large here. What about you?
So I'm already invested as well, not on the Duke under win total, but like you said, the Illinois over win total. I'm not doubling down, and I respect what you're doing here. My football brain tells me the fact that this team was tied with Elon at halftime, and Elon was getting constant pressure on Mensa, tells me that Illinois is going to disrupt this fucking offensive line. It just seems impossible that they're not. And so I think Mensa struggles. This would be more of a point where I would say, if you want to go team total under, Duke team total under. I don't hate that read.
Sure.
I like Illinois. I don't like it enough to double down, to be completely honest with you, but I'm going to be rooting for you like hell.
Okay. All right. I respect that because they're already invested. You got no reason to get involved. You need Illinois to win the game. It's a big one. They're only a short favorite. I got no issue with that.
Also, just to be clear, because I know you discussed it on Owner's Box, I don't fear the double down. I just don't.
I know you don't.
I don't like this play enough to do it.
Fair enough. There's 2 other games that I want to talk about. Actually, no, there's 3 other games I want to talk about at noon, and then we can kind of move along a little bit here. Did you end up deciding if you are not going to play Liberty on the road against Jacksonville State? Because when we talked about this, I had initially written it on the board, but I can't tell you that I want to go to battle with Liberty on the road against Jacksonville State at the moment because I have so many other things that I like. So I'm going to stay off this game. Were you going to play Liberty or no?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Simple as that then. Let's go to 2 more games at noon. NC State's -3 at Virginia. NC State's a game that fucked us early. They were -14 against Eastern Carolina. They looked great. They went out to an early lead. I think it was 21-7 at the time. They completely fell asleep. I believe the final score in that game was 24-17. They didn't cover. Now, I'm just curious. I'm not going to get involved with this one. Virginia looked really good to open the year. They were 13-point favorites. They beat the piss out of Coastal Carolina, whoever they played.
Yep.
You're gonna go back to the pack here. Total's 54.
Oh, I'm definitely not going back to the pack. No way. I hated everything I saw from the pack. I actually think this is a unique position to grab Virginia, a team that I actually think is going to have a good year. And I don't think they're getting a lot of love yet. They got Chandler Morris from North Texas. He looked really good, and I think he's going to have a good year. I don't think people are hip to Virginia yet, I'll be honest. And I hated just about everything I saw from North Carolina State because they were actually up 17-0 in that game. And after that, the secondary got absolutely blown up by somebody I consider to be a very average quarterback in a rivalry game where you'd like to see a team like that after they just beat you in a bowl game and you guys brawled on the field after. Like, if NC State had dog in them, they should have been just fucking locked in the entire game. They should have won that game 38-7. And yes, I know I sound a little salty because, like you said, we bet NC State. But yeah, man, I actually lean Virginia. I don't think I'm going to bet it, but I've watched enough of Virginia to actually believe this might be a team that has a very solid year.
Okay, fair enough. I respect that. I lied. There's 2 more games at noon worth talking about, and one of which I'm going to be playing, potentially even 2. Syracuse at home against Connecticut. Total is 57 in this one. Syracuse -6.5, 7, kind of been bouncing around all week. According to Pickett, what is Pickett showing right now for Cuse? -6.5 is -120 I can get right now at Hard Rock. I like it, but I got to tell you, I'm not overly confident. I am starting to wonder just because Syracuse isn't all that trendy this year. It's still UConn. Do people really believe in UConn? But I don't know that anyone's running to lay a touchdown with Syracuse, given how much turnover they had in the offseason. And I don't think a lot of people are, as you said, are hip to how good Steve Angeli is. Steve Angeli can play fucking football. You were spot on with your Tennessee read last week against Syracuse. They came out to an early lead, a fast lead. They covered. Thankfully, they tried to squander it, but they covered the 14 or whatever it ended up being. I almost lost. I was going to play Syracuse team total under, respecting that Tennessee defense, but I'd said to myself, I like Angeli. Why am I going to lose money on Angeli? Angeli played his fucking dick off. He really did. He kept Syracuse around in that game. The defense did them no favors. Joey Aguilar in the Volunteer offense looked pretty good. Now Syracuse goes home, first home game of the season, playing UConn. Fran Brown is still a pretty good head coach. This team has like new faces everywhere you look. I know nobody wants anything to do with Syracuse, but again, I am a believer in Steve Angeli. I feel like this is a good opportunity to take a shot on him. What do you think?
I support what you're saying. I mean, Fran Brown's a good offensive coach. You saw what he did with Kyle McCord. He kind of revived Kyle McCord and made him look like a pretty solid quarterback. And I think it's safe to say that you're a Steve Angeli guy, and I think I'm going to jump on board with you. I'm a Steve Angeli guy too, especially in this offense with Fran Brown. I don't know anything about UConn. I'm just going to be honest. I've heard some murmuring that this is one of their better teams and that they have one of the easiest schedules in the country. That's about all I know. I definitely support you supporting Steve Angeli, but it's a complete no play for me.
I also kind of like that Syracuse just saw SEC opponents. Now they're going to be out there going around fucking pushing around kids at Connecticut. Nothing against Connecticut, but I mean, there's a big drop off there. So
100%.
Late in the season, I probably wouldn't like that because you'd be beaten up too much the following week after playing those big motherfuckers in the SEC. But I kind of like it here, especially
in Atlanta. Just, like this has got to feel a little nice.
Yeah, it's got to feel nice. Last thing I wanted to ask you, Indiana, you took a shot on Indiana last week live, -13 against Old Dominion. They 13.5. They won by 13. You got hooked. Indiana did not look all that great. They won the game 27-14. They were 24-point favorites. Do you think this is a buy? No, I don't know that it's not a buy low spot, but Kennesaw State on the flip side almost beat Wake Forest. And shout out to you. Didn't you have them?
Yep.
Spread and money line?
Straight and money line. Didn't hit the money line. Came close. Was worth price of admission for sure. But let me just tell you, I watched that game, and I don't know if that's embarrassing that I watched that game, but I did. Kennesaw State's bad. And when I told you I was betting Kennesaw State, it was because of how much I strongly dislike Wake Forest. I think this is one of the worst, major conference schools there is. Robbie Ashford is horrible.
You said the ragdoll of the ACC.
Yeah, I just think they're bad. They have a really easy schedule. I still like their win total under with one of the easiest schedules in the country. I don't care. So then I saw this as a unique opportunity because a bunch of people did just see Kennesaw State keep it close with a bigger name school and almost win outright. And then you got Indiana, who didn't come close to covering against a smaller school. And I like Indiana. I like them this year. I think they're much better than they played week one. I like Mendoza. And this is you said it, you can't necessarily call it a bounce back, but I am going to call it a bounce back. This would be a bounce back spot for Indiana that I'm buying.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to leave it off the board for now, but I'm going to see how I wake up tomorrow and how degenerate I'm feeling. I might press the button with you.
It's a play for me.
Okay, official play for Steak. All right, I'm looking at noon real quick. I thought there was maybe one more game. Nope, I think that's it. We can get into were you going to play Oregon State Fresno?
No.
Okay, all right, let's pass then. All right, 3:30. Here's the game that you keep talking about, and I'm very interested to see where you're going with this. I think I have a lean. But I don't know if it's as strong as yours. Kansas at Missouri. So Missouri is looking like a 6.5-point favorite. I'm seeing the total on this one. Let me just confirm. Nope, that's 2:00. Oh, and then we got to talk Ole Miss next. 50 and about 51. But 6.5 looks like it's the accurate spread. Kansas is off to a pretty decent start this year. They are 2-0, but they're 1-1 ATS, beat the piss out of Wagner and beat the piss out of Fresno State. I had them against Fresno State. Oh, I take that back. No, I did. I took them on the alt line, -19.5 at a plus price.
Yeah, you did have them.
I said they were either losing outright or they're going to beat the shit out of them. But the offense looks good. Granted, they didn't really play anybody. EJ Warner was horrible for Fresno, but Fresno did have a nice bounce back. You had an interesting observation I'll let you talk about with the Kansas offense in general. And then on the flip side, Missouri. They played Central Arkansas, and it looks like, that was it. So Kansas has 2 games under their belt. Missouri just has 1. They won 61-6. And Bo Padula, is that their quarterback? Missouri's?
Padula.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember his name. But I don't know that I have a strong play in this game. What about you?
So this is one where Cover 3 really helped me out. I know we both listen to Cover 3. They're awesome. Yeah. They really helped me out here because obviously I didn't watch Missouri Central Arkansas, just going to be honest. I was kind of interested because it was supposed to be a pretty serious quarterback competition between Prabula and Sam Horn. Sam Horn got hurt, so Prabula kind of got the job anyways. And they said he doesn't look comfortable at all as a passer, and he scrambled 10% of his snaps, which is way, way too much. It's funny that I'm saying that, and then I'm going to mention that I like Missouri, but I do like Missouri. And it's because of Missouri's defense and what I think they're going to do to Jalen Daniels. I watched the Fresno game. He was awesome, but he was playing hero ball. And it doesn't mean dudes can look awesome playing hero ball. Let's be honest. Sometimes Lamar Jackson plays hero ball. Sometimes Lamar Jackson takes a play that never should have developed, looked like the worst play ever, and he throws a 40-yard touchdown to Isaiah Likely. It happens. It's still hero ball. And that's what Jalen Daniels was doing, and it's because Kansas's offensive line is so bad. And having your offensive line be so bad against Fresno and Wagner, I think is completely different than being bad against Missouri. I have my concerns. Missouri lost Membu, their left tackle. Obviously, they also lost their starting right tackle. So you got a quarterback who's not comfortable in the pocket passing, and you lost both your tackles. It's kind of hilarious to say I like Missouri, but what I can say confidently that I like is the Kansas team total under. I think their offense struggles in this game.
Kansas team total under, not where I thought you were going with this. I like the game under. For a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. I'm kind of leaning into what you have to say, but Kansas team total under is a nasty play. 21.5 right now, minus 125 or minus 130 for Kansas. If you give a shit, Missouri is 28.5. That's interesting. And Kansas's defense is off to a pretty good start. Again, they've played not really anybody, but they've only allowed a touchdown in back-to-back weeks. Even still, I mean, SEC teams will play at nobody's and they'll let them score 10 points. So the defense is off to a good start. The offense is hot. They've scored 77 points in 2 games combined. I feel like that's a pretty nasty play, and we always respect nasty plays. Kansas team total under. I might get on the game under. Not totally sure, but we'll see there. And I'm not going to take a spread in this game. I'm just too unknown for me with Missouri. Let's go to another game here. I think you and I both like this spot and are going to get some action down on it. This was a newsletter play for us. 3:30. We have Ole Miss and Kentucky. Kentucky, like I mentioned when we started the show, was a team that I bet on last week. I leaned into Zach Calzada, their quarterback. They were 9.5-point favorites. They really dominated, not so much offensively with the passing game. He was awful. But the running game was good, and the defense, like you pointed out, was excellent against Toledo. Well, they were 9.5-point dogs to Ole Miss. Now they're down to 8.5. So it looks like some money is coming in on Kentucky here, the home dog, which I don't know. It's back to 9 pretty much most places. I thought it dropped to 8.5, but I think it would be Kentucky or nothing here, even though we both are on Ole Miss over their win total, a sprinkle on Austin Simmons to win the Heisman. And the total is where I'm going to look at in this game. I'm getting the worst of the number, but 52 down to 50.5. I like the under. I think Ole Miss is probably going to struggle offensively. First true road test for Austin Simmons. I think the defense for Ole Miss is going to be better than people want to give him credit for. And we saw what Kentucky did against Toledo, which was pretty impressive. So maybe it makes a little too much sense. I'm going to lean into it under in this game for me.
Already with you. It's a play for me too, the under. Here's my reason. A lot of people are saying, oh, you remember what Kentucky did to Ole Miss last year? They beat them. If they didn't lose that game to Kentucky, they'd probably be in the playoff. And here's what I have to say to these people. I absolutely promise you that the Ole Miss Rebels don't have Kentucky circled on their schedule. They play in the SEC, and this is not the game they have circled. This is the game they want to win and get past, which I think they will. I just don't think they cover, and I don't think they score much. I do not think they're pulling out all the stops to beat the shit out of Kentucky. And what did we see from Kentucky? Much improved defense. Toledo has Tucker Gleason. Toledo's a high-flying offense. That was impressive what they did. They've allowed them to basically nothing until garbage time. And I know you lost the cover, which fucking sucks, but I stand on business when I say Kentucky was the right read in that game. It 100% was. So for me, I see a couple touchdown drives, which is all they're going to need, because I won't be shocked if Kentucky doesn't get past 13 to 14 points. And I won't be shocked if Ole Miss doesn't get past 20 to 21 points. I think that's all they're going to need to win this game. And I think that's all they're trying to do. Anybody who thinks they're trying to come put a show on in Kentucky, I just don't believe that narrative at all.
It just dawned on me that Kentucky won the game 24-16. It was -9.5, and they allowed they had a safety.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking forgot all about that. I was just thinking too much about the backdoor 7-play drive with 2 minutes left, 95 yards. But
Well, it was brutal. It was brutal.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. We got the same read on this. Let's hope it comes through. And let's hope also too for our futures that Ole Miss pulls out and wins the game. Couple other interesting 330 spot stake. I don't have anything, but I just want to ask you quickly. Cincinnati -23 against Bowling Green after their loss and Brandon Sorsby's pathetic performance against Nebraska, and Oregon -27.5, 28. Little bulletin board material here with Oklahoma State. You got anything on either of those two games?
Was that bulletin? Would you consider that bulletin board material, or is that just loser talk?
Maybe that was loser talk.
I think there's absolutely a chance I'm being square as hell when I say that I could absolutely see Oregon winning this game by 40 points.
Yeah, it is square. Bulletin board material. I tweeted this, but so far it's 2-0. LSU.
Yep.
1-0 on the pregame. Tommy C. Saban ain't going to save him now. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, Oregon did, if you remember, against Colorado when Dion was talking all that shit, he ass blasted them. I mean, Oregon just fucked them up. So maybe Dan Lanning's that kind of guy. So yeah, if you want to square up with Oregon, I got no beef with that. And then what about a bounce back from Cincinnati? Any interest there?
Nope, none.
I got one. This is a late lean for me coming in here. I think I want to fade Clemson again, dude.
Oh, really?
Oh, fucking really is right. Listen, I'm not saying that Troy is any good. They were 21.5-point favorites against Nichols. They beat him 38-20. But, bro, I'm just going to tell you, man, I think Clemson might not be all that. Then it's not even necessarily a look-ahead spot, in my opinion, even though next week they do have a game at Georgia Tech, because after a pathetic performance against LSU, you have to get right. But you know what I'm thinking? Who doesn't want Clemson to bounce back at home against anybody after what happened to LSU? Who isn't going to play that? That's the most obvious bounce back spot. I love bounce back spots.
I don't think it is the most obvious.
You don't?
No, I think Alabama and Texas are much more obvious.
I don't know if anyone wants to touch Alabama. I do agree with you with Texas, but I was also going to say, when you look at those other spreads, they're 37, they're 34. Did you think 31 for Clemson might be a little short?
I think we did this with Troy, and we kind of determined that they were a respectable football program, right? I feel like I remember talking about this, and I know it. I get what you're saying about San Jose State, but they did just lose as 17-point favorites to Central Michigan, so I feel like that has to be mentioned. If we're talking big spreads, which it feels like we are, Alabama, Clemson, Texas, it seems like you like Clemson the most. I definitely would bet. I'm sorry, you want to fade Clemson the most? I would lean towards fading Texas the most.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I got another 3:30 game. I'm just fucking full of them. I can't believe I thought going into the week I wasn't going to like the board that much. Now I'm loving it. How about a team that
kind of fun? I feel like it's like the sickos board.
Oh yeah. Sick fucks indeed. This is a team that just burned you, and we went against each other. I took Ohio. You took Rutgers. 14. No. I'm not going back to UTSA or anything like that. I'm not going to touch Texas A&M either, but I think they probably skull fuck you, Utah State. Look ahead potential there, though, with Notre Dame on deck. Rutgers just burned you. They burned a lot of people. They burned the Sharps. The line moved 2.5 points, 14 up to 15.5, 16. Didn't matter. They only won by 3. They kind of fell asleep, though. They were up in that game 31-17, fell asleep. I think Ohio's kind of a group of dogs, too. Now they play Miami of Ohio, and they're 14-point favorites against Miami of Ohio. I don't think anybody wants to go back to Rutgers here. And I know this is kind of a silly reasoning, but I do. I think I want to go to Rutgers, and I think Rutgers defense plays a lot better. And I don't think they want to have another dogfight with another fucking team from Ohio. Give me Rutgers -14. What do you think?
I am fine. And since you won our battle with the Ohio Rutgers game, I won't talk you off it. I'm 100% not joining you. I don't think anybody's going to press Miami of Ohio after they scored 0 points against Wisconsin.
That's a very good point.
I think Miami of Ohio is bad, and I bet if you pulled up the splits, it was overwhelmingly on Rutgers because, honestly, people really liked Parker Navarro in Iowa, number 1. And number 2, Rutgers offense looked pretty awesome. So, yeah, that's all I got there. I'm not going to talk you off it, but I definitely won't be joining.
Look at this. A lot of money on the under. Nobody likes the over, but 50-50 pretty much on the spread here. With some Miami of Ohio money, according to
Pickett. That leans towards you being right.
Potentially. Potentially, we'll see. But again, it's kind of one of those things too. I always just like leaning into a team that burned the sharps and nobody's going to go back to. And I think that is a really respectable spread. It's around the same number that they just failed to cover. But I understand you're right. You make a good point. Miami of Ohio did just get shut out, and that was not anything that excites anybody to go run and put their money against them.
It's weird, man. It's a weird spread because they shouldn't be the same spread against Ohio. Is much better than Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio came into that Rutgers game with the nation's longest winning streak.
So you think Rutgers should be bigger favorites?
Absolutely. I do.
Fuck. That's kind of like, we didn't talk about this, but that's kind of like Oregon. Oregon was 28-point favorites against Montana. Now they're 28-point favorites against Oklahoma State. You'd think that, or Oklahoma State would have a little bit more respect, and that number would be shorter. Fuck.
Yeah, I would really not touch this game.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't do it.
That's okay. All right, fair enough. A couple of games to talk about here at 4:00. I don't have anything on either of them, but are you going to be playing West Virginia at Ohio?
No.
Okay. Are you going to be playing your Florida Gators at or against South Florida?
Yeah, I am.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, I like the Gators.
I like the Gators too. I don't know that I'm going to get there because I like Golish. I like the quarterback for USF, but I did have a thought about this, and I was thinking, Florida has a really, really tough schedule, as you pointed out. They played Long Island. I kind of chirped them for it, but you brought up who they play, and there's 8 really, really hard opponents. Florida has got to get the wins against teams that they can beat.
Yeah.
And when they do get those wins, I think they got to get them convincingly. They can't fuck around, can't play around with their food. I think USF was the right spot and the right time against Boise State. Lost Genty.
It's funny. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
You're saying I would have said the same thing about this game that I said about Ole Miss, Kentucky, because you actually have a good point. Like, Florida just needs to survive this game. If South Florida didn't just look like absolute world beaters against Boise State while everyone watched, because it was literally the first game. It was Friday at 5:30. Everybody watched that game. They were kind of excited because it's Boise State and they were in the playoff last year. And they just looked absolutely awesome. And Byron Brown looked awesome. He honestly put out one of the best quarterback performances of the week. So now is why I don't think the Gators can sleep on USF or sleepwalk this game. That's why I actually like Florida early.
Want to go Florida first half?
I like it.
I kind of like it too. Okay. I might get down on that with you. Yeah, I might get down on that with you. Okay. I got a game that I want to talk about briefly. Again, I just can't believe how much I'm starting to like the board, but and I want to make sure if Ryan Surr is watching this, I'm not fading you because Ryan Surr said he's going to be on Kansas State to bounce back. Talk about another obvious bounce back spot. Kansas State minus 17 against Army. Army was 14-point favorites against Tarleton State. That was a crazy short line, in my opinion. I didn't have the balls. We didn't have the balls to play Tarleton State. Shout out to anybody who did because they won outright. Army lost Bryson Daly, a quarterback who was a badass last year. I was on Army a few times. It was my week 2 POD against FAU. I love their coach Monken. He's a hard ass, but he seems like a good guy to play for. They got some guy named Coleman. He's not as good necessarily of a passer. He had threw 2 interceptions in that game against Tarleton State, but they can still run. They ran 60 plus times for almost 300 yards. I guess that isn't necessarily the best average. So they didn't get a lot of success in the run game. But Steak, we watched Kansas State, Iowa State pretty closely. You had Iowa State in that game. Kansas State almost lost last week to North Dakota.
Yeah.
They were in a dogfight. They actually probably should have lost. I'm ready to say I think Kansas State just stinks. I think they just stink. And you know what? Talk about bounce back. Nobody's going to talk about a military school with a good head coach like Army bouncing back. I think they go on the road, and I think they keep this close. I think they're pesky as fuck. Nobody wants to play the fucking triple option. So I'm leaning. I don't know if it's official play for me yet, but I am very much leaning Army here with the points. And then Kansas State next week, short week too. Looks like a Friday night, has a game at Arizona. What do you think about that?
I don't care about the look ahead spot if that's what you're asking, but I think it's like pick your bounce back here. Like pick your bounce back. One team almost lost as 20-point favorites to North Dakota, and another one did lose as 17-point favorites against a school that college football fans have never heard of in their life. I'm not getting on anything, man. I think I'm definitely not backing Avery Johnson or Kansas State. I guess I would lean Army, but man, I got to be honest. I'm like looking, and I can't really find a read here. I feel like you could make really strong arguments for both sides.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So this is officially a pass for you.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. This is we're spending a lot of time, by the way. It's 40 minutes. We're still on the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock games, but there's not that many great games late. So we're gonna pick up the tempo and pace
I
here
was
in a
going to
second.
say, to be honest, that game's at 7. I think we're doing pretty good because I don't see a ton of games left. Western Kentucky, Toledo, I feel like has to be discussed.
Yeah, let's do it right now. I don't really have anything in this spot, but you had a pretty good read on Toledo, and they fucked us against Kentucky. You also had a pretty good read on Western Kentucky, I believe. They covered against Sam Houston. We like the over in the game. I think you played it and you hit it. Where are you going with this?
Well, the air raid offense is back, and Maverick McIver looks awesome. I think he has 700 plus yards and 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks. I don't care who's played. It's been awesome. And this is the one game of the week where I'm going to allow the spread to tell me the story. As it sits right now, Toledo is -7.5, coming off a loss to Kentucky, a game a lot of people thought they could not only cover, which they did, but win outright, which they didn't. They are 7.5-point favorites against Western Kentucky, who's look like world beaters. People love Maverick McIver in this new offense. And the total's in the 50s, albeit 58.5. It's still in the 50s. And so for me, this spread is telling me that Toledo dominates this game defensively, or at least as much as you can against an offense as high flying and good as Western Kentucky. I like under 58.5. I actually like it a lot.
Well, they tore up Zach Calzada for Kentucky. So kind of like that read. For what it's worth, Steak, there's been a lot of steam on Toledo. I don't know if there is an injury or something, but 4.5, that was the opener, up to 7.
Yeah, I remember it was 6 when we talked about it, whatever day I was on stream, Tuesday or something. Also, just to die on my hill, I would be comfortable with parlaying Toledo money line with the under, because I think that's the only way it gets there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And the total in this one opened, 59.5, staying around that number. Okay. Let's keep moving. And you're right. Yeah, I didn't realize that we were in 7 o'clock already. Well, that's good. Are you going to be doing anything with North Carolina after that embarrassment? Now they're playing Charlotte in Charlotte, and it's 13.5. Talk about a bounce back spot there. Nope.
Charlotte had an almost more embarrassing performance, right? Didn't they just get they got like destroyed by App State or something?
App State fucked them up. Yeah, they were like,
Charlotte's really bad. This is a legitimately good get right spot for North Carolina.
Sure. Okay. Here's your best bet of the weekend. You've been circling this one since the offseason in the ACC. Virginia Tech. Great job. You nailed that one in week 1. You said that South Carolina was going to cover. You played it. They did. It was a little ugly early. It was like 10-8. Virginia Tech did not look great, but maybe they're a little bit better than they showed. I'm not in on Kyron Drones or much of this team, but I did like their pass rush. They're playing against Vanderbilt, and you say they've got this game circled. It's a revenge spot. You think Virginia Tech's going to fuck them up?
I think Virginia Tech's going to fuck them up. I did like South Carolina, and I do like South Carolina. I did not come away from that game being very impressed with South Carolina, and I think it's because I came away from the game being pretty impressed with Virginia Tech's defense. I mean, they allowed a punt return for a touchdown. Lenora Sellers is a Heisman contender. They can, after that first drive, dominant first drive, by the way, he didn't do all that much. They had that first drive, the bomb to Nick Harbor, and really nothing else. I was really impressed with the Virginia Tech defense, and I think that bodes really well for Diego Pavia, who was an awesome underdog story, kid with the chip on his shoulder. But to be completely honest with you, rubs me the wrong way this year. He's fucking taking every podcast opportunity he can. I feel like he's on a victory tour just for winning 7 games at Vanderbilt, which is really impressive. Everything he did was really impressive. I can't take it away. They fucking beat Alabama.
I know.
That's crazy. But he's rubbing me the wrong way, and I don't think there's any way he duplicates the success at Vanderbilt. And I have had this game circled. You're right. And Virginia Tech losing the way they did to South Carolina just made me like it more. And if you want to play look ahead, Vanderbilt plays at South Carolina next week.
Love that. I'm with you. I'm tailing this one. I love it. I'm going to be on Virginia Tech as well. Okay, a few other games at night, and then we can wrap it up here. I don't know that either of us are playing this, but the spread is quite telling. Oklahoma, -5 or 5.5 seems like a lot of respect hosting Michigan. Mateer apparently looked good. Everybody's saying, I don't know. I'm not that thrilled about their performance in week 1. Michigan's defense allowing New Mexico to score 17 was a little more than I'd hoped for. I'm a Michigan guy this year. I got their over win total, so I am already invested. I'm officially not playing this game. And one of their defensive ends, their better defensive players, is suspended for the first half of this game. Probably why the money moved the line a little bit from 4.5 up to 6. And then there was some buyback on Michigan. 43.5 is the total. Any thoughts or any plays from you here?
This is one where I hope I have the courage that's needed to just ignore the fact that alarm bells are going off in my head about the spread, because I don't think Oklahoma should be favored by 4.5 against Michigan, and just stack up and take Michigan, because that's what I really want to do. I really want to sack up and take Michigan, not only plus 4.5, but money line, because you know how I feel about John Mateer. And yes, he did have 400 yards in the opener and 3 touchdowns. And that's plenty impressive. And yes, you said it. Michigan gave up 17 to New Mexico. And, Justice Haynes still had 3 touchdowns. And honestly, it felt like almost 200 yards. He's the man. And Bryce Underwood looked solid. And honestly, I was shocked by the spread. I'll be honest. This spread almost threw me off my game completely. It's because I'm just so not a Brent Venables guy. And I want to fade him so bad, but I know what you're going to say. No, actually, you're not going to say that. It's not that I can say Brent Venables is a worse coach than Sharon Moore. That's the honest
right.
You can't really. So that's about all I got. I really want to get to Michigan.
Yeah, I'm with you. Even though I'm buying it on Michigan, I'm not a Sharon Moore guy. So that's a fair take. I'm going to stay off of it. We both faded Arizona State on the win total. I'm very nervous about this trip to Mississippi State. They're favored by 6.5. I got a feeling Mississippi State's going to be a pretty trendy dog here. Total is 59. If anything, honestly, I would avoid Mississippi State. If I had to play it, I'd probably lean Arizona State. What about you?
I told you I'm throwing a party if Mississippi State wins this game outright. Since I said that on Tuesday, you're absolutely correct. They're a very trendy dog. It must just be the whole Big 12 team playing out of SEC school, even though it's the cellar dweller of the fucking SEC who went 2-10 last year and lost to Toledo by 24 points. But they got Blake Shapen, and he looked good in the season opener. They won. They covered, which is huge for them. And people are officially excited. I feel like Brandon Walker, the guy from Barstool, is already a little more excited than he should be about a win over Stephen Miss. And I'm all good, man. I'm not going to play Mississippi State in the points, but I will be so happy. I mean, I will smile ear to ear for a week straight if Mississippi State pulls off this win. I'm basically Jeff Lebby's #1 fan.
Sure. Okay, that works. I'm with you. We're already invested. We essentially have Mississippi State on the money line with the under win total for Arizona State. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, I got 2 more games, and you can let me know if we missed anything. Alabama in a bounce back spot, one of the prime ones. Bama, Texas, and what was the other one? Clemson.
Yep.
Bama's playing Louisiana Monroe. It looks like they're 35-point favorites. Let me see if I can find an opener here. Is this a 7:30 game? Yeah, I got one. 37.5. Money's coming in on Louisiana Monroe, 35.5. I got to tell you, man, I don't think Alabama is a very trendy spot because this is not year 1 of the board doing this. This is year 2. They are not good as big favorites. We've seen that stat go around Twitter all over the place. I think this is a get right spot that I'm going to buy into. And you know why? I'll tell you why. I'm not here trying to bang my head against the wall saying Alabama's good. Alabama's good. I don't know anything about Ty Simpson. I don't know anything about their offense or many of their players. Ryan Williams is a freak. Sure. That defense is soft. That team has a problem. No doubt about it. But I'm ready to tell you something. That performance by Tommy Castellanos against Florida State was one of the best week 1 performances I've seen. And you could say I'm being dramatic. You could say I'm being a prisoner of the moment. I don't give a shit. I'm not saying it was necessarily the biggest stat-wise.
It wasn't the flashiest.
It's not the flashiest. It's the shit you don't see on the stat box. That guy was out there running and diving for every fucking first down from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. It did not matter. He went in that game. No, he said, I'm not getting off the field unless I give it all I got, as cliche as that is. And he left it all on the field, and I fucking loved it. So I don't think that's so much to do with Bama as it is about Tommy Castellanos in that performance. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think Alabama is going to get an inspired performance by Louisiana Monroe in week 2. I think they are going to maybe return serve a little bit here. They're going to show some fire in front of their home fans who's been dogging them nonstop. They got to go out there. They got to get right. And I think they do get right before the schedule starts to pick up. I like Bama, and I like them early. I like them in the first half. So I don't know what the line is exactly. Don't give a fuck. Could be 20, could be 18, could be 23. I like them.
35.5. And
well, that's the game, but what's the first half?
Oh, yeah, good question. It's got to be, I would guess 20.5.
I love it. I love it.
I'm fine with it. I'm not joining you. I'm sorry, but I'm
That's
totally
okay.
fine with your read. I don't think I could give you really any pushback.
Last game, and then we'll shut it down. Thanks again for joining us. Please hit the like button and subscribe before you leave. This is the last one for us. UCLA on the road against UNLV. Nico bad or Utah good? I don't know. UNLV, we sniped them in week 2. You hit the over in week 1, so you're 2-0 betting on UNLV games. We don't even like Dan Mullen. We're not really big into Alex Orji. And none of us like Nico. I would lean the Rebels here, but somebody said a really good thing that stuck with me. He said it would make sense if Nico was bad against Power 4 schools and good against lesser opponents. So this could be a game UCLA shows up and plays well. I'm not going to get involved. Are you?
I'm not going to get involved. I'm officially a UNLV to win the Mountain West Investor. So I feel like that's important to know. This game doesn't matter for that, but I am officially on the UNLV train. And I won't be surprised if they win this game, but I don't think it makes sense that UCLA is -2.5. I agree with what you just said, and it's a straight layoff for me.
Okay. More than fair. All right. We can run it back real quick, Steak. I'll give you what I got written on the board here. We both like Baylor. You like the over. I like the under. We kind of differ on that one. I'm on Iowa team total under. You say it's stupid to take Rocco back out of the equation. You very well might be right. I just get weird vibes. Weird things do happen when those teams play, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is that Mark Gronowski is not ready for the big stage just yet. Illinois money line for me. You're on Illinois on the win total. You're already invested. I am too because I got Duke on the under, but I'm going to double down here. Syracuse -6.5. You're going to co-sign being a Steve Angeli guy. I don't love this play, but I'm just going to do it. Ole Miss, UK, Kentucky, under 50.5. We're on that one. It's a newsletter play. Rutgers -14. You don't like that. You make a really good point, kind of like Oregon. The spreads seem a little bit weird. They should be bigger because it's the same number as it was when they just played Ohio. Virginia Tech -2. I'm tailing you. That's a bet you've had circled in the offseason. I love your read. I like it. I'm leaning into it. Bama first half. I'm going to go ahead. If it's square, I do not care. I'm going to lean into them being the get right bounce back spot that comes through. And fuck it, I'll put Army +17 on the big board. I don't think Kansas State is a very good team. And Kleiman, I'm all out on his stock. Anything I missed?
Yep. Indiana -36.5 is an official ad for me.
Okay.
And Western Kentucky Toledo under is an official ad for me.
I might be telling you on that as well. All right, guys. Steak, great job. Fresh off the flight. Made it through. You were sick in week 1. You're jet lagged in week 2. I'm just kidding. It's a 2-hour flight. No big deal. But still, thanks for pushing through. Guys, thanks for joining us. And good luck on all your wagers in week 2. We will see you next week. Peace.